Hey everyone, Mr. Kurt here with some incredible news and something awesome to share. But first, the news. Wrestling with Character returns to New Britain on Saturday night, May 18th, and get ready to imagine the possibilities. And for 1 week only, you can save 20% off your entire ticket order by entering the code FUN20 at checkout. That's right, 20% off of Wrestling with Characters. Imagine the possibilities. Now, for something awesome to share. If you missed our debut performance, I am so proud to introduce everyone to Wrestling with Character.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the HHW Show podcast. It's the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show with Hector and Obi-Wan. Myself, Frank is unable to join us tonight, but Frank, I know you're tuning in, so big shout out to you. Big shout out to all the wrestling fans, and of course, everyone supporting the HHW Show. Man, listen, it's getting hot in here. It's getting hot, really, really hot, Hector.
Yeah, I can say the same thing over here in Texas, but yeah, it is.
Look, it's a new season, right? The draft is over. And of course, you know that the purpose of the draft was because the NFL draft was kicking in on the same week. So why not have the draft? But you know, you and I know, and everyone should know that that's just publicity because in a couple of months, you'll see people going back to different brands and stuff like that. So you know the drill.
Yeah.
But however, the next premium live event is happening May 24th, a Saturday, and it is the King and Queen in the Ring tournament, right? The finals will happen, but there's still a couple of matches that's official. We're gonna get to that and much, much more. But listen, let's get right to the men's tournament because that is fire right now. And I'll bring it up real quick because we had 3 matches on Monday Night Raw. Gunther and Sheamus were the main event, and Gunther ended up winning. We got Dragunov making his debut on Monday Night Raw. He defeats Ricochet, who is the WWE Speed Champion. And then the Jey Uso defeats Finn Balor. Now, I know this is our first time we talk about the brackets and the bracketology and everything else, but who do you like so far in this tournament?
I like Gunther. I just think that he's focused, trying to rebound from losing at WrestleMania. I think this is a good way of getting him back on top of things. So I like him right now. Honestly, I'm looking at the stack lineup on SmackDown. I just think Gunther is going all the way.
I have Gunther versus Dragunov in the Raw finals.
I like that because they have history with each other. Yes, they do.
Now, I mean, I find it awkward. I mean, listen, main event Jey Uso, fan favorite. I believe that he has a greater chance of facing Gunther in the Raw finals. I really do. Um, and
Mm,
there's history there too. And I
yeah,
know you probably is gonna say to yourself, no, this shouldn't happen because we already saw this, right? We already seen this happen. But it's just the fact that Dragunov's new, or could the what is that called? Um, let's put it this way: Dragunov is the underdog all the way through because he's new to Raw, right?
right.
But was not to say that he could get by Gunther or Uso. Just saying, like
Well, yeah,
anything's possible.
he has beaten Gunther in NXT. So I mean, before Gunther was called, before Gunther could be called up into the Raw to WWE roster, and I
Mhm.
eventually put on Raw, he had to lose his title, not the NXT title, but I think it was like the NXT
NXT
European
UK,
UK champion. He was the UK
right
champion
before he
forever.
went to the United States
Right,
NXT. Yes.
right. So Dragunov had to
Mhm.
beat him for that title, and that was an awesome match between those two. They left it all on the table.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm all in for Dragunov versus Gunther, and I've seen Dragunov at NXT, and yes, he lost the title to Trick Williams, but hey, you know what? It's his calling,
right,
right?
exactly.
And I'm loving it. I love his character. He's a fan favorite, and no disrespect to Jey Uso, but it just seems like time and time he always ends up being disappointed.
Yeah, you know, I just kind of think of this matchup, and I kind of see that um Jay is going to get screwed out of this match. I mean, this is going to be a good match, I think, to start off with. You know, we're going to see a lot of moves between the two, but at the end of the day, with Drew McIntyre just
Oh,
being around,
yes,
you know,
yes, yes.
that's
Right.
why
And
I
Drew
just say,
McIntyre's pissed off, and
yeah,
that will set up a Dragunov versus Gunther. Listen, I still feel like the bye week should happen because Kofi and Rey Mysterio, I'm just not I'm not all there for that. And I think for Ray, I think Kofi is going to win.
yes,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I
because
think that's
Carlito, there's got to
yeah,
be something brewing there for Rey Mysterio not to advance.
right,
Um,
right,
yeah,
exactly. I
and
agree.
that's something else that we're going to cover about faction later on. Okay, but in the meantime, let's look at the SmackDown. For one, I remember years ago, I was spot on with Baron Corbin winning the King of the Ring.
Yes, you was. I remember
Um,
that.
but I don't see that anymore. So he's not my favorite into this. Okay. Um, I do see the winner between AJ Styles and Randy Orton could go as far as seeing Randy Orton and Tonga go at it for the SmackDown finals.
You see, that's what I try to piece together here because we can see several combinations. We can see
Mhm.
Styles against LA Knight in the finals. I kind of going on the outside limb here, and I
Mhm.
was thinking Carmelo Hayes and Bobby Lashley only because they had that little run in. You see what I'm saying?
Ooh,
So I
right.
was like, could that
And
be a
they're
start of
separate
something?
brackets, so they will have to meet each other in the
Right.
SmackDown finals.
Right. So I was like thinking that could Carmelo Hayes pull out he'll beat Corbin, but could he pull out a miracle upset against Styles or Orton? That will be the toughest challenge for Hayes. But if he was to do that, then I could see Lashley getting all the way to the finals. You see, so it's like, how do you play this here? You
Well,
know,
I feel like as though should Carmelo Hayes beat Baron Corbin, should he get by either AJ Styles and Randy Orton, that's almost like a signature of welcome to SmackDown. You are the next future star
right,
in the WWE.
yeah,
Yeah.
because we've seen Hayes and Dragonoff and NXT. We've seen them two go at it.
Yes.
Could
And one hell of a match.
could this be
But it's not going to repeat. I'm sorry, it's not
hey,
going to.
it's possible.
As soon as Gunther announced that he was the first one to enter the King in the Ring, right? I said he already won. Because the
Yeah,
fact is that out of all these superstars, he is the only one that's so focused, and he's always looking ahead,
Right.
and he's always observing everyone. It's not like he comes out of nowhere and talks smack. He'll tell you in your face, and he'll look at you and tell you what's wrong with you and
Right.
the reason
Right.
why you're not going to win.
And see,
Okay.
and with us agreeing that we see Gunther getting to the finals,
Mhm.
now how do we put the puzzle together on the SmackDown side? Gunther
Who
is
would match up against Gunther?
exactly could it be Randy Orton, with the experience. He has a lot of
Mm.
experience. Could it be the up and rising LA Knight? You see what I'm saying? Or it could be Muscle of Bobby Lashley.
But why
Eh,
not? But watch this. But why not Tonga? Right? And hold on. And
Right,
I'm not picking him.
right,
I'm not. But just imagine if we did pick Gunther, and you're
right.
right. Let's match it up. If it's Tonga, then that will bring out Roman Reigns for SummerSlam against Gunther.
Mm.
Because Gunther's going to win. You see what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there because we've been flirting with two champions that held a longevity of those titles, right? What perfect match could we have the King versus the Tribal Chief in
Right.
SummerSlam? That'd be pretty awesome.
That would be, but I just see Gunther being outmanned against Tonga in the finals because of
Nope,
Solo
no,
Sikoa.
no, because the Imperium will increase should Dragunov be part of the Imperium.
I don't, man. I
That's
don't.
a
I can't see Dragunov being part of Imperium. I mean,
It's about respect. About respect. We didn't see Sami Zayn and Jey Uso go together. We didn't see Cody Rhodes and the Uso together, right?
I mean,
With
I
all
just
that stuff that was happening. I'm just saying.
Tonga is so fresh and new at this. He would need
Mhm.
so much help to get past Lashley and LA Knight.
All right.
Because
And
I'm already predicting the LA Knight will beat Escobar.
I don't see Gunther and Lashley going face to face. I just don't see the chemistry there. Um, I don't see Santo Escobar even. He might. I don't even think he could pass LA Knight, to be
No,
honest with you.
I don't think he is either. No.
Um, Gosh, I just wish Baron Corbin's character was a little bit different.
Yes.
I
If
always
we
say to myself, with his resume and everything else and all his accomplishments, why not push him? Now,
yeah.
he's already been the king. I don't think we ever had a
No,
two-time king.
no, we never
No,
have.
and
No.
it's not going to happen this year.
Mm-mm.
Um, but I mean, he got the height, he got the stamina. I mean, he could stand toe to toe against Gunther. That'll be a great match, I think. Um, wow, that's hard. SmackDown
I
is
just
hard.
I think Gunther, if Gunther gets to the finals, he needs to be pushed to the limits, and I think Orton can do that for him.
But Randy Orton is already, that's another thing. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens already have their hands full with the bloodline.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And two on top of that,
Or
I can't see Styles after losing to Cody Rhodes, losing in the first round against Orton. To me, that's kind of setting back AJ Styles.
but he's been in that position before.
I mean, you're gonna make this. He's already a ticking time bomb. Now making him lose in the first round of Randy Orton. That's
Yeah,
not
but
gonna
look,
go
this guy's
well.
already announced that he's going to retire. He might be keep losing and losing until look, he be the next John Cena.
Yeah,
Always losing.
yeah. Yeah. I like when Cena loses. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you do. All right, we're bringing in our other host here. Frank, my man, how you
What's
doing?
up? What's
Oh,
up? Good,
I
good.
thought somebody was busy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was, but you guys started a little late, so you know what? It kind of works out.
All right, man. We'll catch up to speed. We're talking about who could be the favorites for the men's tournament of the King of the Ring. And here we have it. We got Gunther, Dragunov, and Uso clinching their way to the second round with their victories. We still got Kofi Kingston and Rey Mysterio will be coming back on the next Monday Night Raw event. But however, SmackDown's Friday. AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. I'm gonna pick Randy Orton to win. Who you got?
It's AJ Styles against Orton all the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Orton will win this. I mean, I hate to see Styles lose, but I'm trying to see it from your standpoint,
Mhm.
where Styles is going downhill. I mean, he has really nothing more to prove. He
Right,
ever since he came back to the WWE, he quickly became a Grand Slam champion.
right.
So that was pretty awesome on his part.
Mhm.
So, and he's a sure shot of a Hall of Famer too. So I
He's
take Orton
already a
though.
Hall of Famer in my book.
Yeah,
Baron
Yeah, he is.
Corbin versus Carmelo Hayes. I got Carmelo Hayes with his jump shot. He's not going to miss on that one.
yeah, I'm taking Carmelo Hayes.
I
Think
take Carmelo Hayes. I think
Which sets up a
Baron
great
Corbin.
match between Hayes and Randy Orton. I think I'm loving it.
yeah,
LA Knight versus Santos Escobar. I got LA Knight.
yeah.
I got Escobar on this one. I think Santos Escobar might get one out on LA Knight.
Ooh, wow! I'm surprised.
Well,
I'm surprised.
I can see his point because LA Knight is going to be outnumbered in this one. I can see that, but
Man,
but
those
no,
scrubs, really? I can see if it was the bloodline, but man,
yeah,
Legado de Fantasma was a joke, man.
yeah,
Well, I guess we'll see how much of a joke they are when they beat LA Knight.
Yo, they might be bum rushed or anyways, we'll leave like that. Lashley and Tonga. Then this is a hard one
it
because
is, it
is this
is.
going to be the start of a rivalry between the Pride versus the Bloodline? Because I don't think Randy Orton and Kevin Owens got anything else left against the Bloodline after what happened in the premium event.
Mm-mm.
You know,
I mean, I feel like the rotation is the same.
You
You
know,
know what I mean?
okay, I'm starting to see. I'm trying to start to see a little light here. I think Lashley's going to win, but by like a disqualification. I think the Bloodline is going to come in and attack him, causing
And
the
then you
Street
bring in the
Profits to
Street
come.
Profits.
Yes, yes. So I think
Wow.
Lashley wins by disqualification. I think
All
so.
right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think Lashley's gonna lose.
Think Lashley's going to lose?
Absolutely.
all right. All right. Now on the women's side of the house.
Mm.
I like this. I like this. We'll recap. Io Sky beat Natalia. That was a given. Valkyra, right?
Valkyria.
Beat Dakota Kai. And then Stark defeated Nile, which I knew that was gonna happen. Oh my god, I can't even say her name anymore.
Valkyria, yeah. Yeah.
Valkyria debuts Monday Night Raw. Similar situation in the men's with Dragunov, right? I think she's gonna go far, man. I'm digging it, but what's interesting is that we haven't seen the winner between Baszler and Vega.
Right.
But man, Stark is a future star in the WWE, and I think this is her moment. And I'm leaning with Stark to win the whole tournament.
Oh.
She's been destined to go far, but I just feel like Baszler is holding her back.
Well, I got one for you.
Go ahead.
The finals is gonna be Stark and Baszler.
Well, the Raw finals. You thinking
The
about
Raw finals, right?
Right.
The Raw finals will be. That's what I meant. The Raw final.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we still got to talk about SmackDown. But then the damage control, I think they already been damaged with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really see Io Sky doing much more. Maybe flirtatious to be in the Raw finals.
I got Vega. I got Vega winning this.
She is already the queen, though.
No, to beat Baszler. At least to beat Baszler.
Man, I don't see her, yo. I don't see her as.
I'm looking. I'm just trying to look at it from a fan standpoint.
Baszler would eat her alive.
You put Baszler against Io Sky. Who is the crowd really going to root for? Baszler, probably. They're not going to root for Io Sky because she's damage control.
Well, if you take it to Puerto Rico, Io Sky won the fans. So,
yeah, I think Vega goes on and faces Sky, giving Sky that chance to get to the Raw finals and take on somebody like Starks.
All right, bet. All right, let's look at the SmackDown. New look here. I'm
the Terminator. No, that's RoboCop. That's RoboCop.
RoboCop. Bianca Belair versus Candice LeRae. pretty simple. I think Bianca Belair got this, unless Indy Hartwell interferes, and maybe we have a future tag team matchup.
Well, I think they're going after them titles eventually.
Yeah, eventually. I'm just not liking the women's tag team champions involved in the tournament because I don't see any tag teams. Well, we haven't looked at the rest of the. No, we have. We have. I don't like it. The king and the queen of the ring should have no champions involved in this. They already are title holder. That's just
Yeah,
my
but
opinion.
they're a tag team title holder.
All right, moving on. We know what this match we already talked about, but here, the other half of the women's tag team champion, Jay Cargill. Um, Again, it just seems like they're pushing them to have a bigger resume, and that's just my opinion. I know Jade's got to win.
She's got too much to learn still. She is so fresh. She's got a lot to learn on Raw. But
Yeah,
yeah,
Well, what does she really have to learn? I mean, she's been wrestling for years.
not that long, dude. AEW doesn't count. I'm just saying
Oh, it
right
doesn't
now.
count. Oh, okay. Well,
Well,
okay.
because listen, she's learning the storyline. She's learning what real wrestling is about. That's why they didn't rush her when she signed into WWE. Okay. And then she came for the Royal Rumble. Then you didn't see her again until WrestleMania.
and even
So
then, she looked as stale. Every time she got in the ring, she
yeah,
didn't know what she didn't look like she didn't
she's
know what she
only
was doing.
done like a couple of moves. Bianca Belair's done the rest. So
Yeah, Bianca's the one taking the fall every time.
all right, but I'm gonna say it like this: Nia Jax is my favorite on SmackDown. I want her to go all the way. She's definitely gonna beat Naomi.
I got her winning it all.
That's your girl. I mean, I think she's gonna beat
I
Naomi.
think she was still deserving for the women's championship. I think she should have been a champion already, but they got other plans. And yeah, I do see Nia Jax
I
in Saudi
see
Arabia
I
going for the
see
finals.
I see the brands splitting champions. Each brand is taking a champion. It's taking a winner.
Mm.
If we feel strongly about Gunther winning it on the Raw side, I think Nia Jax is the heavily favored for the SmackDown side.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. But hey, let's do it this way. A lot has gone on, okay? And 2 official matches. And then we're going to start with Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. I don't see a title change.
Not
I
yet.
don't.
No.
Especially being in Saudi Arabia, I just don't see Morgan capitalizing, or shall I say, maybe there'll be another part afterwards. But for now, I still think Becky Lynch is still going to be the champ.
Yeah. Just build it up a little bit more. Even though you're right, I think Liv should have been champion, if not Nia Jax. But yeah, Becky
No,
should not have that title.
My scenario was fit best. You know what I mean? Like, if she has the revenge tour, then let's make it a revenge tour.
Yeah.
So
Becky holds it though for a little bit.
Becky.
And then lastly, Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable versus Bronson Reed, a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. I hope that in the Triple H era that we're in, this new era, I hope that the Andre the Giant winner has value to recognize a future star. And we haven't seen that under Vince McMahon. Can this be where Bronson Reed puts his mark in the books as the new Intercontinental Champion?
I think it will happen. I just don't think it's gonna happen just yet. I think Chad Gable's gonna take this one.
I think Sami Zayn's going to win the match, but eventually I think they'll put that belt around Gable before they put it on Reed.
Okay.
I mean, but you're right. I mean, the big man needs to have a shot. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody like I always like Bam Bam Bigelow. Why couldn't he hold the title in the WWE? You see what I'm saying? It's like, come on, man. He had a lot of, flexibility, agility. I mean, he can move around. He was one of the great big men, and yet you could not put a title around his waist. He had the look. I mean,
Yeah.
good Lord.
Yes.
I
yes,
think
indeed.
that's who we got now. We got Bronson Reed, who's the modern day Bam Bam Bigelow. I don't want to mess with them. Oh, but you forgot a match though.
I do got to stand corrected here because initially it was Bobby Lashley versus Tonga. That is no longer the case. The match is now Angelo Dawkins versus Tama Tonga in the King of the Ring tournament. That was announced 1 hour ago in WWE.
And
So
Tama
Bobby
Tonga
Lashley is not wrestling.
and Tama Tonga wins. Tama
Yeah,
Tonga, Tama,
because
Tama,
Angelo
Tama,
Dawkins is a guy that will always take the pin.
Yep.
So absolutely.
Well, that made it easy for us.
Yeah.
Well, I said Tonga was going to win regardless.
Huh?
I said Tonga was going to win anyway, so no change.
Well, you're going to get that one. We'll give you that one because we're going for Tama Tonga, Tanga, 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 Tanga.
Tama who? Tama Kali. All right, boy George. All right. Oh boy, I'm loving it. But hey, all right. Dominic Mysterio, my friend. Dominic Mysterio. He trying to be sneaky, bro. He trying to be player.
He is suspect.
He is suspect. Him and Liv Morgan.
Suspect number one.
I think it's real. I think something going on. When mommy comes back, it's going to be fugly.
Yeah, she's gonna be on top of She's gonna be on top of both of them.
Wow, that's all I gotta say. Man, this guy, that's why they call him Dirty Dom. He's playing dirty.
Oh, for real. With that stash.
With that Dirty Sanchez.
Yep.
Man, I can't believe Ray said something like, was it Rey Mysterio that said the Dirty Sanchez?
It was Rey Mysterio that said he has a Dirty Sanchez.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. Crazy. That's all I gotta say. Crazy. But our focus is on factions right now, and
not fractions, but factions, right?
Factions. Did I say fractions?
No. I'm just saying we're not talking about fractions. We're talking about factions.
Well, the faction could face a dilemma if they become fractions, and that is a big takeaway. And the big question is how can a faction stay together? There was a lot of friction with the Judgment Day, and the Bloodline. There's a transfer of authority, so there's a lot of chaos going on both brands. But how can they stick together? That is what we're going to talk about following this message by our homeboy Kirk with Wrestling in Character.
Hey everyone, Mr. Kurt here with some incredible news and something awesome to share. But first, the news. Wrestling with Character returns to New Britain on Saturday night, May 18th, and get ready to imagine the possibilities. And for 1 week only, you can save 20% off your entire ticket order by entering the code FUN20 at checkout. That's right, 20% off of Wrestling with Characters. Imagine the possibilities. Now, for something awesome to share. If you missed our debut performance, I am so proud to introduce everyone to Wrestling with Character.
It's happening May 18th at the VFW 511 in New Britain, Connecticut. I'm definitely going to be there. And I hope that all you guys here in the local area of New Britain or anywhere in the surrounding Connecticut area, please get your tickets in. Wrestling with Character. Get your tickets now. You got the code FUN20 and more to it on the hhwshow.com. So you got to check it out. That debut was phenomenal. I can't wait to go back again and check it out because, bro, I'm telling you, it was good. It was more than you get more than what you bargained for, but it was worth watching. And it's good because Ichiban, who is one of the top independent wrestlers in the Northeast region, will be there. So, but everybody else, I mean, look, arts and crafts, prizes, everything. I mean, Kirk laid it on there, and if you guys were there with me, it would have been awesome, dude. I'm telling you right now. So tune in to hhwshow.com. Get your tickets. All the information's there on the homepage. And moving on to our faction because, listen, factions creating groups, maintaining a group harmony requires a delicate balance of communication, respect, flexibility. And we're going to discuss some strategies here. Okay. We noticed Damian Priest getting frustrated because he wanted a clean shot with Jey Uso, but there's been a lot of interference, right? And he's getting frustrated, but he was able to see it and he was able to realize that maybe he was wrong and he apologized to his group. On the other hand, you have the bloodline and they're supposed to be family. But when does family gotta like beat each other up? Why you gotta beat someone down to kick somebody out of the group? It's crazy. It's crazy how things happen. And that's why I got you guys here, man, to talk about faction. What does a faction mean to you, Hector?
You would think it would mean a family, you know, a group of people that can come together with chemistry, you know, with the same kind of chemistry, with the same idea, the same kind of goals, you know. And we've seen that. We've seen that in the past. But lately, we haven't. You know, as time has progressed on with the factions in wrestling, in different brands, we have not seen that. But we have, when you talk about the Fabulous Freebirds, we've seen it with the Von Erichs, which with their family regardless. You know, we've seen it with the Four Horsemen. You know, that right there was family. You know, you didn't have to be blood to be related, you know, to be family. And they stuck together and nobody could have torn that apart. They had chemistry. You know, everybody worked in unison. Everybody had a part that worked perfectly, you know. So it was hard to kind of tell who was the one in charge because everybody was almost equal with each other.
Right.
Listen, you were talking about individuals that come together for a common goal, and a common, they want a common goal to come together, and they all want to reach that goal, whether it's independent titles, whether it's tag team titles, right? They all want something together, and they're gonna fight. They're gonna fight for one another. But the problem comes is when these goals are different, when there's different views, and one person starts going one way than the other, and that's where you got to make a choice of what you're going to do. And that's when the chaos starts coming about, and the different views and different goals.
Absolutely. And they have to make sure that everyone understand the purpose of the group and each individual responsibilities. We saw that with Roman Reigns. You know, we had a hard time understanding what that picture looked like. But when he had Jey Uso as his right hand man, he will tell you, you are the right hand man. You got to handle this. You know, when Jimmy was around, you got to handle your business. Why didn't you not handle you? He was holding everyone accountable. right? And their goal was to have all the gold, right? And they all became undisputed champions. But then that went away, right? And now Solo Sokoa in the bloodline, what's his purpose? All we see is revenge. All we see is aggression. All we see is just attack, attack, attack. But what is the goal? You're just running around and you're leading something that's empty-handed. On the other side, you have is the Judgment Day, right? And Damian Priest said it. I am sorry. Okay. I understand that you guys did not want me to lose this title. You guys were helping me maintain my title. Okay. And this is a group that's supposed to not have a leader. All of a sudden, it has a leader. So it's crazy how that goes. All right. But there's something that I'm going to tell you right now is open communication because we saw the example that Damian Priest has. But we don't see that with Solo Sokoa because I thought the wise man is supposed to help the bloodline. And we
I
got a
think the
in there. Go ahead.
I think the wise man is lost in what this version of the bloodline is because he's looking at pure destruction. If you take the bloodline when Roman Reigns had it, right, to where it's at right now, these are two very different groups.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Roman Reigns was very methodical, very okay. This is what you're gonna do. This is how you're gonna do it, and blah, and one or the other. Solo is just taking everything by destruction, by by pure brute force. He's doing a hostile takeover of what's going on. What's their purpose? We're going to figure that out in the time to come. But right now, I think their sole purpose is to create destruction.
There has to be some kind of structure, and Roman Reigns had that with the bloodline.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, yeah, you can maybe question his motives on how he did it, but he still had it together. You know, I mean, they kind of feared him in some ways, but he still had structure. There was a
But
plan. He had a
Mm-hmm.
goal, and he set out to set that goal, and he did it. You're right, but we haven't really heard from Solo on what's going on. We just, like you said, we just like a bunch of Wolverines going out there just attacking and attacking, you know. And now we focus on those two factions, but let's not forget that we got Legado de Fantasma. We still got LWO. You see what I'm
Oh,
saying?
and I think Frank mentioned something before about the LWO with Rey Mysterio and stuff like. I think Frank, you said that, or was it you, Hector? You had something about that. You remember?
I don't
Uh,
remember.
But hey,
I
we'll lead into that because Mike, a good big shout out to Mike here. He says the wise man acts like he's scared, and that leads me to my next one. Great timing is about promote inclusivity. Okay, and I think I said that name wrong. Oh my god, let me try that again. Promote inclusively. Wow, no, it's late night, man. Added a lot of T's to that word, but and there's not even a T. All right.
exclusivity. Nice.
But everyone should feel like they're valued. Everyone should be able to be heard. Everyone should have a voice, right? And so I like that comment that Mike has said because if you don't feel valued and don't want to hear, yeah, you're going to have that fear. You're going to be scared. And that doesn't help you at all to make this faction be strong.
Mhm.
that makes
Correct me if
sense.
I'm wrong, Hector.
No, I think that makes sense because you look at the LWO; they all have a voice. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Rey Mysterio doesn't. I mean, to me, he doesn't walk around like he is the leader. Everybody has a voice. Even
Mm-hmm.
with Legado de Fantasma, they have like a voice. But then when you look at Imperium, they don't have a voice. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like
No,
another
but there
Roman.
that's like communism.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And I know Frank is over there tuning in, but that echo is coming from his side of the house. He gonna help me out there real quick. Um, But as far as I'm glad that you mentioned Imperium, because it's one way or the highway, right? Gunther's way. And of course, he's always telling them, and there's another way of him putting his team accountable. Um, Another thing is addressing conflict, because Gunther addressed the conflict and then got rid of one of their members of the Imperium. On the other side, uh, the LWO has a hard time addressing the conflict, and the conflict is Rey Mysterio, because Rey Mysterio is trying to take all the glory. And I
Right.
understand that he is the baby face, but even at the same time, he may not realize that, dude, you had your time
Yeah.
and you want to bring and put the Latinos together, and you got some young bucks that are hungry, but you're not giving them the opportunity,
Yeah.
right?
He's
And
still in
then
the
people that
spotlight.
right, and people that want to be inside, like Santos Escobar even said it, dude, you're my idol, and yeah, you don't trust me. Then
Mhm.
you got Carlito, who thought he was next in line to be in this tag team match in the premium event, right? And that didn't happen, right? So
Right.
it's like, Ray, what are you doing?
Yep.
You're a Hall of Famer, and yet you still want more gold. You already accomplished everything. You're
I think
supposed to be
he
a leader and an example.
Hall of Famer. He's more like a hog of Famer.
Yeah,
He's hogging up the spotlight over here. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, step aside, man. Give it up.
Mhm.
Start coaching these young guys so they can start being the next leaders. You know what I'm saying? I like Legado de Fatan, but better than I do the LWO. Only
Right,
because I like they got their faction set better. There's more of a family there than what to me the LWO is. You know, and then of course
exactly.
then we can't forget we got the Final Judgment, we got the Pride, and it's like, with the Final Judgment, you got one voice there. You see what I'm saying? The other ones are just muscle. That's all it is.
Yeah, it is muscles.
And so you never heard them talking to Mike anyway. So I
No,
mean,
it's
talking about
it's
an
more
easy gig.
one. It's more Karen Cross with support, you
Yeah,
know,
that's it.
and
But it's working though. It's working.
it's working. It's definitely working.
Yeah,
Um,
unlike Frank.
Another thing, yeah, yeah. Frank, you all right there, buddy?
I think so. I mean, look, that's what happens when you're on location, man.
He's in the
Yeah,
Jersey
yeah,
Shore. That's why.
I
yeah.
mean,
Jersey Shore.
dude, I vote more
Yeah.
like the Jersey Stone.
Listen, the most important part is focusing on what the task is at hand, right?
Mhm.
Especially when you do have problems, right? Avoid the blaming game. Okay, discuss the problem, focus on finding solutions rather than assigning blame, because the morale goes down, and when you assign blame, you're creating separation. Okay, so encourage and look forward, have a positive mindset, and emphasize the importance of learning from your mistakes and move forward. And we see that minus the LWO, okay, because it seems like every time something good is going to happen, somebody turn their back on Ray.
Right.
Okay. But anything else that happens and these factions, bottom line is you got to lead by example. And we go back to Judgment Day, because Damian Priest is trying to lead by example. But the example goes back to the very beginning. You ousted Edge because y'all want the spotlight. You
Mm-hmm.
beat everybody up to come in your way.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot change that, because that is who you are. Right. And you think that Damian Priest is always trying to change them and said, dude, handle your business. But then there's a trust issue because they're always losing. So
Mm-hmm.
how can you help them go back to winning?
Yeah.
That's
Because
the important part, because you have to lead by example.
and that's the thing. Mommy took over that so much that she didn't give anybody else a chance. So now that she's gone, the next man up is not really there. And it's by default it's going to be Priest because he's the champion.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying something a little bit ago that struck a nerve at me in a good way, and I thought about D-Generation X. To me, that was a faction that worked out modern day the best, because you had a time when Triple H and Shawn Michaels was in a triple threat match against John Cena. They had to fight against each other, but yet they did not allow that to interfere with what they had which was D-Generation X. They still came back together, and there was no animosity. There's no friction. There was no nothing. They left it in that ring, and they still came back together and dominated as DX.
That's funny you say that because they supported one another, and
Mm-hmm.
that's straight up encouraging, right? And they used to tell each other, I'm going to get you.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one's like, yeah, I'm going against you. And they got that little ego, but they never crossed that line. And that's called respect.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
the New Day is like that nowadays. But when you really look at the New Day, they've gone against each other. The New Day runs like that.
Have they
They
gone
have that
against each
line.
other? Have they
I'm
fought
trying.
each other? I'm trying to remember. I know they supported one another.
They definitely support
When
one another.
Kofi won the WWE Championship, they celebrated with him. No, they didn't ever turn their back on him. When Big
But
E
I,
won, they supported him too. The only
Yeah.
person I
but I,
didn't see was Xavier Woods winning.
Yeah, he did not allow jealousy to interfere. So, but yeah, I
he
Exactly.
can't
was
When
remember.
they win, everybody won.
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm.
But
but I don't
I
remember.
think they went against each other at one point or another. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost sure. But
You know,
I got him.
no, I think there was a some kind of weird tag team turmoil thing going on where Kofi and Xavier was started off the match together, and they tried to do a quick pin, and everybody jumped in to stop it.
Oh
It was like
yeah,
some kind of
that's
fatal four way
right.
or something like that. It looked like
Yes,
they were gonna go at it and fight.
yes,
I
yes.
think,
And so
unless
they
that's
had
what
a
you're talking about.
strategy, but didn't
Yeah,
work out right. Yes, yes, yes.
something
Wow,
like that.
that was way back.
I know.
Um,
How's it going,
but
Frank?
absolutely. So when you encourage one another, members feel very comfortable, and especially when you need each other the most, they're there for you, and that's
Yeah,
important to have your own faction. And in other terms, when you have a group, when you have a team, you need people to support one another because once you don't have that, then everything starts to crumble and you'll have people to turn your back like they did to Rey Mysterio and LWO. You will have that in any other factions that's happening. And of course, if you're the one that does not doing your part, then they're gonna have to single you out like they did with the bloodline with Jimmy Uso. And it doesn't matter if you're family or not family. If you can't produce, you got to go. And
so
that's part of the game.
let me ask y'all a question.
Go ahead.
How large should a faction be? Because
well,
we've seen how big they can get and how it implodes.
Well, it can be that big because if you have too much, do you have the rules? Do you have like that chain of command that everyone's held accountable? Because once you don't have that, right, then you're gonna have the fights. People are gonna have their own politics, and when
Mm-hmm.
politics get in the way, then
Mm-hmm.
that's when you start dividing, and then that's when you go from faction to fraction.
NWO.
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get
True
at.
story.
I mean, they literally
LW
had.
had many chapters, right?
I mean, they had literally.
NWO
But
had
but ain't no
NWO
one
Black,
like Hulk
Red,
Hogan, right? No one's like Scott Hall
Kevin Nash.
and Kevin Nash was the original.
I swear, you think they had more members in the NWO than WCW had superstars?
They could
I
have built.
think
They
at
could have
one
done their own
point,
wrestling promo, right?
Exactly.
I think it was at one point each member of that WCW.
Well, it just seemed like every week people used to donate shirts. Hey, wear this shirt and then wear this shirt. You know what I mean? It's like everybody was just on the bandwagon except for Sting.
I think at one point you had every single wrestler either NWO Red, NWO Black, or LWO. Because that's what you had.
What was that? Wolfpack?
The Wolfpack is the
Yeah,
red.
the Wolfpack,
Red.
right? The Wolfpack
Right.
was the red.
I
Mhm.
think Goldberg was the only one that didn't join anyone. I think he
No.
stood by himself. But you're right. I mean, Frank, you're right. I mean, literally almost everybody, because even Dusty Rhodes himself, the American Dream, was part of the NWO Black and White. He was a
Mhm.
member. That's weird.
Everyone was a member of one of those three factions in
Yeah.
WCW.
Yeah. And I felt bad for the LWO because it didn't really last. They tried to hang in with the NWO, but
Yeah,
because
didn't work.
because Conan and I think Eddie Guerrero became LW and NWO members at one point.
dude. But if you look at it and you looked at the documentaries, we understood that there was no structure. It went out the window. And that's why they could have beaten WWE, but people's
Mhm.
egos got in the way and there was no leadership. There wasn't enough Vince McMahon in that product, right?
Yeah.
In that production. And that's why they failed. They fell short. And it is what it is. And
And then
like I
they
go
even
to tell you before, a faction went into fraction.
tried to bring the NWO to the WWE as a 3-man crew, and that even failed because Hogan wound up turning good all of a sudden.
Well, the storyline shaped up between him and The Rock. And when you had that match, the people that didn't care what status was Hulk Hogan, they cheered for him because he was the original.
He was.
He was.
They knew that
And
was the end of the era.
yeah. And you know what? NWO could have been stronger if Kevin Nash and Scott Hall gave in and they all hugged each other and they could have maybe do something as a baby face, but that didn't happen.
Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
They did
When?
at WrestleMania when they came and helped Sting against D-Generation X.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was years later. Yeah.
Yeah. But the quick little
But
baby face.
D-Generation X still won, though.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see NWO and everybody was cheering
I mean,
for
and
them.
do you think
To help
and do you
Sting,
think
who
they
was
were not gonna win?
their enemy for a long time.
Look like a bunch of old folks in a nursing home fighting each other. That's what it looked like.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we got, done with this takeaway. And again, we actually established some strategies to help out these factions or whatever group you want to create. So maintain a positive and productive group dynamic. So that way you can minimize the friction and you can promote collaboration. And that, my friend, and everybody else, that is the takeaway of tonight's show on the HHW Show podcast. Congratulations, everyone.
Yeah.
I love it. I
I'm
love it.
telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like us three. We're like a little
Yeah.
faction here.
We always.
Yeah.
Always. There we go.
You got,
Boom.
you got you,
Uh-huh.
like the one holding us together. I'm the muscle, and then you got the one over there that's kind of confused and done like the dom over there. You know?
Yeah, that's Dom right there. Absolutely.
Every now and then he got a good point.
coming.
Yeah, every
I
now and
knew
then.
that shit was coming. Damn,
Yeah.
thanks.
Just don't ask him
Right,
about
like-
predictions. Matter of fact, for predictions, we're gonna put him first.
All right.
Yeah, so he don't be complaining that
No.
said
Be
it.
like, you know what? I thought about that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah, I did say that.
But Frank, the show wouldn't be the same without you, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Look, Frank, you got a lot of great insights. Okay, when you speak, we listen because we don't know if it's going to be making sense or if it's going to make absolute sense. So we got to.
But at least he is speaking it real because
Yes, he
that's his
is.
show. That's
Yes,
his
he
show,
is.
Speaking of Real podcast. So we gotta tune into that. It's your show's every Wednesday still, right?
Yeah, every Wednesday. Except
Wednesday,
this
9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on his YouTube channel, Speaking It Real. You want to tune into that, as well as our weekly Thursdays, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock Central. It is the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show. And once again, thank you for everyone. Tune in also to Wrestling with Character with Kirk. If you're in the Connecticut area, VFW 511 New Britain, Connecticut is May 18th. Check it out. It is worth your while. I'm going to be there, and I hope to meet all of you. And again, visit hhwshow.com for the latest information. On behalf of Frank and Hector and myself, thank you for watching. Take care, everyone. Gotta love some wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.